Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of NC-17. My name is Josh, and today we have a writer, a poet, actress, musician. I mean, she runs the gamut, and she's an awesome person, and she's killer on the mic. I can tell you that much for I've listened to some of her stuff. We got Claire Fluff Llewellyn. How are you doing today?
Hi Josh, thanks so much for having me. I'm fine. I'm cat sitting at the moment, so you might hear some noises in the background. So
Oh, it's okay, it's okay. Uh, So before we get into what you do in the entertainment world and your movies and stuff like that, kind of take us back a little bit to when you were a child. Was music the route you wanted to go, poetry, art, or movies, or did it all just kind of fall into your lap all at one time?
I kind of feel like I need a long couch. No, but it's like um wow. It started out with writing. It's always been writing, to be honest. Back when I was a kid in primary school in the UK, we were taught traditional rhyme in a very fun fashion. Roald Dahl was pretty hot at the time with his rotten rhymes or ridiculous. No, I keep getting the name of the title of the book wrong, which is anyway. He did kind of creepy children's poems that were humorous. People would know his work more in movies from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda, The Witches, etc., etc. So he's been an influence in my poetry. Um, and so I was always writing since then. I then I did kind of like a Weird Al thing, and I changed lyrics to popular songs at the time, and and then I got into music, um, and writing lyrics became a thing. It's, obviously it's a form of poetry, and when you're a teenager and a young adult, it can become very, very therapeutic with what you write about and stuff. And I guess my music was kind of punk-ish, or at least my voice was. And I thought about doing acting. I did a few drama classes as an option for one of my classes at school, but decided it wasn't for me at that time because basically it was a lot of dropouts who took the drama classes because they really didn't want to do any work. And I was you're very shy, and being amongst the louder people was not for me. But I was always good at writing, and I was top of my class in English language and literature. Um, so I kind of followed that and always stuck with writing in one way or another. But didn't really publish anything until the past few years. I was a bit embarrassed, I think, to publish some stuff because some stuff was deeply personal. And then I got into writing more horror fictional stories and stuff. Um, and that's what you'll find. That was my most popular book, is called Love is a Killer, which is a horror themed poetry book, and that's actually done really well. And then I do have one which I call The Kitchen Sink, which is a bit of everything, um, and that has some humor in it, and not as popular as the horror one, but then it depends on the market you're trying to sell it to and the events that you go to. Because obviously I've done a lot of horror events in the past, so um, so that's the whole poetry kind of journey.
Uh, so with your music career, you've had two different bands. In the UK, you were with Stir Crazy, and I looked up some of the music, and it was good. I liked it. It was, it's the kind of stuff that the people in this household listen to. So,
Yeah.
and then in the US it was Absinthe Kiss.
Mm-hmm.
And again, right up our alley. So obviously, it's different. I mean, same but different because there and here is was the crowds the same, or was it like one was more active than the other?
Well, music's kind of difficult, like any creative industry and endeavor, really. When I first got into bands, I was in my late teens. Um, Formed my own band then. I'd done the choirs and all that stuff in school, and played the organ and did lessons and got education and exams and all that or whatnot in music. Um, but then I switched from playing keys to focusing on vocals. Had some lessons and in that, and then I kind of worked both ways with my musician band members. That they would work on a tune and they would when you jam and stuff, and we'd record it, and then I would go away with the music and I would write and put lyrics to that music, and then other times I would have something that I'd written, and then we'd hash it out and they'd put a melody and a music to that. So I worked both ways round, and we always had to throw in covers, because if you're an unknown, no one's going to want to be interested in listening to original music that they have no idea of. So we always did classic rock. Classic rock and blues was my thing, and then throwing in originals. My very first gig in the UK, I was 19 or 20. Big theatre in the UK called the Northwick Theatre, which is no longer, unfortunately, a theatre. You had big bands back in the 60s. I think the Beatles may have played there. I know they definitely came to Worcester and went to the Odeon. So it was an old theatre, and we supported a friend's band. And I was in the classic rock bands I was into in the day. I had a thing for Aerosmith at the time, so I put loads of scarves on my mic stand like Steven Tyler, and I was skinny at the time, so I was kind of trying to hide behind it, and I had sunglasses on. It's like my family were up in the balcony, and I didn't really want to see them because of my nerves. And I didn't have like radio packs or anything. Everything was wired, so I was like tripping over the leads and didn't quite know what to do with myself when I wasn't singing. We had that recorded. It's on VHS. I've been trying to get it onto DVD for years, although it might be better staying buried. I don't know. And we had it off the soundboard on cassette as well. When I moved over here, I originally moved over for music because I met a musician, American, that I ended up marrying. Long story short, yeah, that didn't work out. So that was the Absinthe Kiss band. Again, it was a lot of covers, and unfortunately, some of the covers that they wanted to play and they chose didn't fit my voice so much, because that's the thing with instruments. You can play in any key, but unless you're like a really talented vocalist, not many vocalists can sing in absolutely any key and have like such a range. I'm not Prince. My voice is a love it or hate it, and I was never that popular. I was never that. Yeah, I hate to admit it, I wasn't that great. A little pitchy, so I'm told. My technique wasn't fabulous, and it gave me a lot of like issues and stuff with health vocally. So I haven't sung in years. I mean, I've still got songs I'd like to get recorded that were never recorded, and I've even got a comedy horror musical that I was started to write a few years ago. And so music's still in me, I guess. I occasionally do karaoke at a friend's party, but that's and that's about it as far as being active in music these days. I did do, and I don't know if you looked at my YouTube channel, because I do have a couple of montages on there of a couple of my tracks, and MySpace is where Absinthe Kiss was, and we had tunes on there, but I can't access that anymore. If it's even live or accessible to anybody these days, I don't know MySpace, but and so I did because I was a slow down, take a deep breath. I ramble a lot, and I did blah 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 blah, blah and I here, there, and everywhere. But uh, where was I going with this thought? Okay, so on my YouTube also is in the music section. I opened a set doing a Cooperoke, doing Alice Cooper karaoke. Yeah, I dressed like him and stuff, and ran around with skeletons and in a theatre. When I That was a lot of fun. I opened for Ron Fitzgerald. You're probably not local, so I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a Gothic illusionist. I think he's still active these days, but we're talking 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. I was one of his assistants. So that's when I first got into going to the horror conventions over here. We performed at some conventions, and so that was really cool and got me more immersed into the indie horror scene. And that's when I, started to make my own films.
All right. Speaking of your films, so I was going through your IMDb, and I've actually seen some stuff you've been in.
You have? Wow.
No, because my thing is this show is a platform for anybody. You know, you like the thing is I'm never gonna not know at least something about the guest that's coming on. But to my surprise, I actually own one of the movies you've been in.
Yeah.
It's you played Lori in a segment called Pink Snapper in Slices of Life.
Yeah, that was one of the first things I did many years ago. Yeah, people were quite surprised when they're, oh, you were in that. Yeah, I was, wasn't I? Yeah, probably. But yeah, it's like,
Uh, that was an interesting movie though, and
mm-hmm.
each story segment kind of told a different. I mean, every segment was different, but they all kind of jive together. So, doing that movie, what was your like when you were getting the script and you were doing what you were doing and everything? What was your first reaction to everything?
As in being on set, the making of the film, or seeing it afterwards.
Both.
Well, when I didn't get when you do a small part and it's an anthology, you don't, I didn't know what the whole project was about. Not even that segment, because I didn't get the whole script. So
Yeah.
it was interesting, the fact that we shot on public transportation, sneakily. So that was fun. That was kind of like a run and gun situation, and yeah, they didn't have to actually do ADR. So it was fun. It was interesting. So it was one of the first things I did. Um, and yeah, kind of forgot about it until it came out, and years later people said, oh yeah, you were, oh yeah, yeah, it was. Well, I did get to finally see the whole project, and it was pretty cool. It was interesting. I liked where they went with the segment that I was in. It was, yeah, it was cool.
Oh yeah. Uh, so you also, in my opinion, one of the best TV shows that was ever made, and it got canceled real quickly, and I don't know why. But you were also in the Exorcist TV show.
Yeah, that was, I do. I've been doing background work for like 16 years, and I recommend that to anybody who wants to get into film. It's okay. There's nothing glorifying about being an extra, because you're basically a walking prop. But it's it's not work. It's easy if you've got patience and you can just sit there and entertain yourself and be quiet for hours on end. Um, I like to, if you're allowed, if you get to see the workings of the set while you're not actually on set being part of the scene, it's interesting to see how a big budget, big crew production works. And I like seeing that and seeing, oh, what cameras are they? What are they doing? You know, it's and I think you can learn a lot. And yeah, you meet some interesting people. Obviously, you can't speak to the actors. That's a no-no. You don't approach them. But if they want to interact with you or off set, then and some of them do. Um, it's yeah, that's kind of cool, and it's always nice to see yourself on screen. But saw myself on the plane once when I watched a movie I was in. It's like, like that was that was cool. So yeah, so if you see yourself on the big screen in a theatrical piece or TV or anything, and episode, you know, stuff over here that's obviously international. So my friends and family back home will see it, and they get a kick out of yeah, see it. And if you can see more than the top of your head or the, you know, side of your shoulder or something, it's like, yes, I made the cut. Like, so it's yeah, it's an easy payday. You get fed well. So I really I would encourage anybody to do it. I really enjoy it. And it's like, oh well, you don't get, no, you don't, you're not the star, you don't get a speaking role. If yeah, that's everybody's goal. If you're an actor, that would be your goal to have a speaking part in a major project. And that doesn't always happen. If your background, you don't have to memorize any lines. It's like it's so easy. So, yeah, I enjoy it. And that was probably my favorite uh, show that I've worked on, being a horror fan. And it was I got killed in the end, and that was awesome. The directors were great, and there were some people who were superstitious about it and saying the set was haunted. No, nothing weird and freaky happened at all. It was yeah, it was cool.
Oh yeah. So the original Exorcist movie was the only movie that ever scared me. You know, and I was 7 when I seen it. Her head started spinning. I was like, "That's not natural," and I left the room. It took me all the way until I was like 21 years old to watch that movie all the way through. So,
Wow.
but just knowing that, you know, you're tied to this franchise in some way, shape, or form, whether it be, you know, upfront, background, whatever, you're tied to this. And this is a well-known franchise.
The
So,
series didn't do too well, and I think initially it just got a pretty crappy time slot.
oh yeah,
Um, there were other things going on and whatnot, and didn't get a lot of exposure, so they got a bad time slot. The second season was, it went on to a, you know, different story
yeah.
altogether, pretty much, because it was just about the actual exorcist himself and whatnot. So and they shoot in Canada. They weren't in Chicago, that's for sure, in the second season, and it kind of fizzled out, but it ran its course, I guess. But it was interesting seeing what they did with the first season, taking on the story of Reagan, you know, later in life. That was Gina Davis. She was nice. It was it was interesting. I'm glad they came to Chicago and gave me some work. So
Oh yeah. But you were also on two of my wife's favorite shows of all time. Shameless.
yeah,
Yeah, like she loves Shameless and Preacher. She loves Preacher. So, you
yeah,
know,
Shameless was a lot of fun too, and we actually got a couple of like featured spots on Shameless. We worked many seasons on that, and there's one scene on a train sat opposite Lip, and then I was a truck stop waitress who had to deliver coffee or something to Ian and shit. What was her name? Chloe Webb was the actress. Who was it? Monica? Was Monica the name of the mother, the druggie? Yeah. So uh, that was a very interesting set. I have some stories about that I'm not going to go into in public, but it was interesting. And then Preacher, we went house sitting in New Mexico for 6 months, and were able to work on some shows out there as background. And the yeah, I'm not a like comic book geek or anything, so I wasn't aware of Preacher. I did go and watch it afterwards, and it took me a while to get into it because it was so bizarre. But once you get into it, it's like this is pretty awesome. Um, and the preacher guy was English, Dominic or somebody, Dominic. And but I didn't get to see him on set, but we were shooting in one of those Wild West static towns that they build out in the desert out there. So that was an interesting experience. And it was a period piece too. So we're in 1800s garb, and they even went down into the women to the underwear and stuff. And you've got to use a porta potty. It's like, and you've got these layers and skirts, and just like, that was interesting. And then they had a falconer about because snakes, just like, oh, it was great fun.
All right. Uh, let's talk about one that I'm interested in knowing about. I haven't seen it. Werewolf Massacre at Hell's Gate.
Hmm.
You play the witch.
I, yeah, I do. That's kind of just a bit of our friend James Bark move makes these no budget movies with his friends and family. So we usually help him out. He invites us back when he needs to fill in a few roles, and we just do that for a bit of fun. I mean, he gets distribution, and his distributor actually distributes my film Pogo, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a bit. So James is a nice guy, and it's don't go into those films with too much anticipation. He likes to go on the whole William Castle vibe. He used to be a car salesman, so take that as you will with his whole persona and his methodology, if you like. So his movies are entertaining. They're just no budget, campy fun, and so nobody really takes it too seriously. So
Oh yeah. So let's kind of fast forward a little bit. Now there is one movie I've seen multiple times. Very big fan of it. But we'll save that one for a little bit later. So I'm reading your IMDb and I see that you've been in some zombie stuff, which zombies is my favorite subgenre of the horror genre. You were in Bong Zombies. You played a book club member. What was that experience like?
but again, a lot is who you know, even in indie, because you build up relationships, and especially when you have such low budgets, you rely heavily on favors and on friends and stuff, and that's how it goes, and that's how things get made with little to no money. So that was a short series, and I knew the director, producer, and the AD, and they asked me to come on and do be background for them in this zombie role. And I thought, hey, yeah, why not? And that was actually paying. It's like, but, so that was appreciated. But yeah, that was fun. My only issue with that, and I learned for later on that me doing zombie stuff is not the best fit for me makeup wise. I have extremely sensitive skin, so when it comes to, well, I love monsters and stuff, I can't do the makeup. They put it's really harsh and caustic when it depends on what you use. Silicone shouldn't be an issue, but it's the glues and the stuff and the latex. And this makeup artist didn't use any barrier cream or anything, and put loads of raw like liquid latex on my face and shit. 12 hours shoot day, my face was burned. Literally, my face
Dang.
was bright red, sore. Like, oh no, I guess. And the next day we had to do the scene beforehand. Before I turned into a zombie, it's like, how am I going to do it before when my face is now like bright beet red and sore and scabby and like. So from that respect, it wasn't a pleasant experience. And I thought I don't. And after that, I was like, I don't think I'm going to be a zombie again. But
But you were indeed in another zombie movie,
yeah, and
Attack of
that
the.
was like airbrushed. That makeup was not as bad because there was a little bit of latex on my arm. I don't know if there was something on my face maybe, but it was just like a small patch, and not for such a long period of time either. And most after that was airbrushed makeup, so I was fine with that. Fortunately.
Oh yeah. So Attack of the Corn Zombies. You played Lenora
Mm-hmm.
or Leona. I got the name wrong 3 times. I am so sorry.
No, that's fine. I know it began with L, but
uh, so I've seen that film quite a few times. I've interviewed quite a few people from the show, from the movie. Uh, so what was your reaction to first being on that set, just for the first day, your first reaction of seeing how everything was going to go down, and just like how was you preparing to get yourself into being this character?
it's a period piece, as you know. So, and those are always fun because you get to dress up. It's and you get more into character when you're wearing clothes that are anything other than your regular street clothes. Do you know what I mean? It helps to get you into that frame of mind. Um, and I went back to a bit of my default, well, not default because it's not where I'm from, but more of a London accent. I don't particularly have a strong dialect. I'm from central England, but my mum's mum was a true Cockney. You have to be born in a certain geographical area in London to be deemed a true Cockney, and I always loved her accent. So sometimes I will veer towards that depending on the character. Um, I got a neat wig, and actually, I like the look of that wig. It actually, it's like, I like that. I was like, that was a good look. And I decided to try and cover my tattoos a bit because I didn't think that was period appropriate. And they gave me the shawl for that. Um, yeah, they're a nice group of people. Yeah, they do a lot of work. They get stuff out there. So that was my first time working with them. Um, and yeah, I did a scene with Lynn Lowry, a nice lady. Um, we stayed in the Airbnb which we shot at, so I was there for a weekend. It was a lot of fun. They like to have kind of a camaraderie going, and usually have a shot at the end of the wrap day, and it's like peanut butter whiskey, awesome.
Oh yeah. Well, I can say that that whole film was phenomenal, and every single person in it was phenomenal. And when it came to certain parts of that film, I was like, I to me it was a little bit more of a deeper meaning, especially with the whole family stuff. But top to bottom, pillar to post, awesome movie all around. And I thank you for putting out great entertainment, because if it weren't for people like you, there'd be no entertainment. So,
Well, all those projects I have really nothing to do with, so it's like I'm just
well, I mean,
a hired hand for those. But
well, I mean, even in the background, I mean, like the thing is at the end of the day, it's you're in the profession to where even the background is just as important as what's going on in the forefront. You
mm-hmm.
know, because I mean, I've been watching movies for a long time, and I'm a nitpicker. Like if I see one thing that doesn't match the rest of the movie, I'm like, okay, so that's going to take away part of a point, because I have a point system. But I can say that the movies I've seen that you've been involved with, none of them have really fallen past an 8, and 10 is good. So like 10 is the best. So the thing is and it goes to, like you were even in a background for Sinister too. I mean, the thing is like these movies and films and TV shows that you're a part of, you're a part of history now, you know? Like, and that's an awesome thing to know that, you can say, hey, I have this under my belt. And it's even a more awesome thing that you're allowing me to have time to talk to you about your experiences on these. And I am so appreciative and I thank you very much.
No worries, thank you.
Yeah. So you have about 8 new projects that are going to be coming out, some post production, some in production, and some pre production. Uh, I'm just going to pick a couple, and if you could talk about them a little bit, but not give too much away, because I don't want you to get in trouble, and I don't want to be spoiled on anything neither. So you have a short coming out called The Fur, and you play Genevieve Smith.
That was a student project that's many years ago, and I don't think it's ever going to see the light of day, unfortunately.
Oh,
That was an interesting project, but she's moved on from that, and she wasn't happy with the edit and the final project for a final product. So yeah, I don't think that's ever going to air, unfortunately.
uh, I'm sorry to bring that up then.
That's all right.
Uh, you got, well, here, let's say it like this. You got Still Your Face, that's in production. You play Patricia. Can you kind of give a little bit of a detail of what that's about without spoiling anything? Or again, I don't want you to get in trouble neither. So,
That's my film partner Christopher Kaler. That's his project. He got kind of held up with COVID on that. He started it before COVID, and that really um, messed with that project a lot. With continuity, locate well, with everything, obviously. And he's still got a few things to shoot on that. But it's he's hoping to finish it at some point. He's got so much on his plate. He's doing a lot of acting roles himself. I'm still waiting on him to finish some project which should be releasing this summer, A Deadly Double Dose. I don't know if that's on your list to talk about.
yep.
So that we shot the. So that is basically an anthology, if you like, of my 2 previously released long shorts, because they're just under 40 minutes a piece. My first film, Conscience, and then my second film, Director's Cut. So they didn't really have a great run, as in distribution wise, because it's difficult for shorts and at that runtime. So, and they had a decent reception when they did get out there. So I wanted to put them together and release them as a feature to give it, better distribution. So that's A Deadly Double Dose, is the compilation of those 2 shorts, and then we did a wraparound, which blimey, is going to be 2 years ago this August we shot that. And I'm kind of like this Norma Desmond character, and we're doing this Hollywood premiere party that's premiering those 2 movies, because I'm part of those 2 movies as well. So I'm in the wrap. I'm playing the actress who's promoting those movies, and she gets punked by the producer and doesn't like her because she's a bit of a drama queen diva type character. So they're more kind of comedy horror, and that's we had a screening of that, a premiere screening last September. Just felt like it was just very very small local. So I'm looking forward to that actually dropping and getting released on streaming. So I have a distributor who distributed my previous anthology, Hobo with a Trash Can, which is still streaming on Tubi, I believe. So that will be my second feature, I guess, as Bloody Brit Productions. And then I have a couple. I don't know what else is on my IMDb that's coming up, not to be released. I don't know. You tell me. It's like
I don't know. Actually, I was about to bring up Hobo with a Trash Can.
Mhm. So
Uh,
that was my first unthought. That God, that was 10 years ago now. It was 2014. Um, so I came up with this concept. Having only done like shorts, and shorts are a lot easier to manage in every respect, from shoot time to shoot, locations and funding, everything. It's easier to make a short film than a feature film, obviously. And I thought, I'm not the only one in this situation. It's nice to get distribution again and get a feature out there. So I came up with the idea of making a thematic, cohesive film out of short segments. So I produced the overall project, um, put it out to some filmmakers to come up with an idea of a short film. I think it was about up to 10 minutes, that revolved around an item of trash that I theoretically gave them. Didn't like ship it to them. It says, here's your item. It was a paper bag for one. It was a hanger for another. Something that would cost them next to nothing. It's a piece of trash. And then to set their story around that item. And then you got the titular character, the hobo, which is Chris Kaler. And then when he interacts with certain objects, it then segues into that short. Um, so he directed the first short, which is Frying Saucer, which I wrote, and we both appear in. And I wrote and directed the wraparound as well. So there's comedy, there's horror, there's sci-fi in it. It's apparently it's much better if watching it when you're stoned. It's like it's had mixed reviews, but it is what it is. It was no budget, and it was something. It was a learning experience, and I think it worked out fine.
oh yeah. That's actually on my wife's to watch list, so I can't really spoil anything because I've seen it. She wants to watch it, so I won't spoil nothing for her. But I thoroughly enjoyed the movie. I'll
Yeah.
tell you that. So uh so there's you play you're in another short called Frying. I said flying. Frying Saucer. You play Mindy Goodfellow. That's an interesting name. Uh,
That's part of that's the first segment. That's part of Hobo with the Trash Can.
yeah, yeah.
I kind of guess we double dipped a bit, I guess, with the IMDb to portion it out as the individual shorts.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to give it a little bit of a shout out because the thing is like there's certain with any anthology film, there's certain segments that stand out more than others. But
Right.
when you put them all together and it makes one cohesive movie, I mean, that's a phenomenal thing because there's a lot of people out there doing their should, coulda, wouldas, and some of them are doing their not so goods. But
Yeah.
I want to say each story kind of elevated the movie more toward at least all the way to the end, and then at the end, everything just kind of wrapped around and came. It like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you.
uh,
Yes, everybody's tastes are different, so you win some, you lose some. It's not everything's not for everyone. So
that's very true. We'll talk about two more. Uh, Simply, you play Mother in Leaf Blower Massacre 2.
mm-hmm. That's a while back too. There isn't really much I can say about that one, to be honest.
I mean, that's cool. That's cool. So we'll talk about Wendigo, the Wrath of on Human. All right, this thing ain't even letting me click nothing now. So. Technology and me get along only if it's a PlayStation. No, I'm just playing. Wendigo, the Wrath on Human Garbage. That's it seems well. There's no plot in there, so can you tell us about this film?
Actually, I can't. I don't know much about it. I don't even know what I did in it. It's another James Bark movie, so it's another one of the the goofy, fun, uh, no budget films that I discussed James earlier. So that's another one of his projects, and I don't really remember anything about that one. Sorry, James.
It's okay.
I showed up. I don't.
So out of all the films you've been involved with, was there one that stands out to you that's like it exceeded your expectations and like you're very happy with where the film is right now? Any one film?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Good grief. Hmm. Unfortunately, I don't think so. I don't really know how to answer that. Um, most of my roles have been like small roles in most of these projects, and most of these projects have been, other than like the background, have obviously been very low budget productions. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's what I've had to do. So I'm with you on that. I totally get it. Everybody should be proud of what they achieve, and to achieve anything is a great achievement. That's like so yeah, kudos to everybody who could manage to make a film and get it out there, because it can be fun, it can be extremely stressful, and it's a lot of hard work. Um, it's it's not for everybody to even attempt it. Uh, the older I get, the more I'm like, I can't do this for no money anymore. It's like it's not realistic. Too it's too much work. It's the older I get, the less money I have to make anything, the more stressful it is. And that's just me personally. Other people manage it and do it and are more of a hustler than I am. I'm not very good at self promotion and marketing and all that stuff. It's not that I'm not driven. I'm just not. That's not my forte. I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses. My number one strength is, I believe, I'm a fantastic writer, um, and I'm a decent actress. Um, and I produce when I have to, because I have to. It's not something I enjoy, but then others have told, well, one person in particular says I'm a bit of I micromanage. So, maybe producing my own stuff is what I have to do to get it how I want it. But I would rather have a more experienced producer who has access to resources that I don't. And it's all about the resources. When you think about, you want to level up, and I do, because I have a lot of scripts in the pipeline. I have 2 features completed at the moment that are waiting for funding. And those are my kind of go big or go home kind of projects. I wouldn't be able to crowdfund what I would need to make them. Um, I'm not good at crowdfunding anyway, so I wouldn't get anywhere close to 6 figures. So I'm lucky that I've been able to get away with what I have to this point, and appreciate everyone who's helped me out with anything. And I have crowdfunded in the past, and up to about 2 grand. You do what you can with that. You rely on favors. Uh, and again, thank you so much. Love everybody who's supported me to this point and helped me do what I've managed to achieve. But it's something personal in me that can't do the whole struggling. And a lot of people out there as well are like saying, we can't work for free. I totally get it. So going forward, the amount of money I would need to make my future feature scripts is beyond crowdfunding, my ability to crowdfund anyway. If I could crowdfund, and some people have been lucky enough to be popular enough and driven enough, go getters and all that with the crowdfunding to raise like 100,000 plus, I know I personally would never be able to come close to that. So yeah, I'm trying to make connections, trying to do what I can to find the people, to find the resources to be able to make those bigger projects, but we shall see. So I have one called The Ripper Legacy, which is set in modern day small town America, and another one which is kind of personal at the moment called The Change. It's a horror film about menopause. um, yeah, it is a horror show for sure. I have quite a few people interested in that, and as a horror film in general, if you look at the success of The Substance, there's something in it that would be enjoyable and watch worthy for any horror fan of any generation, although it's thematically set, targeted towards women in my age group. I think any horror fan of any age would enjoy it for the horror elements in it. So
All right. That's awesome. I I truly believe you're going to be able to get both those films made, and when you do, I will definitely be watching them. So but we're getting kind of toward the end of the show. So I'm going to give you the floor. You can plug your socials where people can or cannot reach out to you. That's entirely up to you. And just anything you want to plug. The floor is yours.
thank you so much. Thank you very much, Josh, for having me on your show. And yeah, you can find me on Facebook, just Claire Fluff Llewellyn. Instagram, not on there very often. I'm there, I guess. Brit Fluff. It's about it on socials, I guess. So yeah, you can always reach out to me on Facebook mainly. And to plug, I have all my books are on Amazon. So Love is a Killer is the horror themed poetry, and Rhyme and Reason Facets of a Life is the everything, the kitchen sink of poetry. And my poetry is like, if you like Edgar Allan Poe, Roald Dahl, if you like accessible rhyming poetry that can be a little tongue in cheek, a little humorous, a little dark in places, then check it out. Yeah, keep an eye out on my socials about my journey into trying to get my big projects funded. And as far as like simply acting in any, I don't have any projects coming up, I don't think. Always looking to audition. So any filmmakers any filmmakers out there who have got any parts that might fit me, let me know. Send any auditions my way. Yeah, happy to audition for anything suitable. I can't do an American accent, which has been my downfall. Actually, I can do a deep South, but it's kind of comical, and I don't like being put on the spot and do it's like, oh, go and do it then. No. So, but, so yeah, if you're a Brit adds production value, I make the great villain.
uh, well, Claire, you've been an awesome guest. It's been a pleasure talking to you. You are more than welcome on the show anytime. Whether it be plug movies, poetry, music. I mean, just anything you want to plug, even if you just want to come out and talk movies, that's entirely up to you. You are more than welcome on the show anytime.
Thank you so much, Josh.
You're welcome. And I normally end the show with everyone stay NC-17, but since you are a poet, I'm going to end it and steal a line from Edgar Allan Poe. Quote the Raven, nevermore. Later, everybody.
Cheers.